accusation that I am racist. It's gonna get clipped! Shit! The truth is, you accused me of racism because I had worked through the false allegations against me that I was unsafe for children by 2011. What? I'm gonna start saying this to my detractors. You're only calling me racist because I beat the Lolicon allegations.
Catalaika is a strategy game for 1 to 4 players that focuses on building a successful stellar culture that spans across the entire galaxy. Created by Molly Frederick, 85 backers pledged $7,840 to help bring this project to life. This is a board game that met its goal, a relatively modest goal, and very, very quickly went off the rails. Let me show you just the base Kickstarter at first. So you look at this, it's pretty modest. You know, their goal was $7,500. There's nothing wholly unknowable, nothing imagined that is unachievable. The horizon of this world is but the harbor of another. Let us become something worth telling tales of on many worlds. You're not here to save the galaxy, you're here to play in it. Catalaika is a board game for 1 to 4 players that focuses on what it feels like to live as a member of the stellar consciousness of a galaxy. It all starts with 1 star for each player, and the goal is to invest your stellar resources in the smartest strategic ways to build planets, then cultures that help grow your consciousness across the galaxy. Shit looks like fucking Settlers of Catan, or Scythe. This is not a typical space opera shoot-'em-up type game. Catalaika system uses by-the-turn customizable visual reference cards for the deployment of stellar resources into a full range of different gameplay styles. To truly master the galaxy, you have to become adept in all the pathways. The main goal of Catalaika is to have fun. That's a good idea to start with. The gameplay is similar to a cross between Risk and Magic the Gathering. It does not look like it. It doesn't look like either of those games. Play should only take a few minutes to learn how to play, but the complexity of the strategic possibility increases nearly exponentially as the gameplay deepens. There are 13 different types of interactions possible when interacting with an opponent. This shit makes my brain melt. What do you mean there's 13 different types of interaction possible? You know what I like? I like it when I'm playing a board game and it has like a little card on it that lists like up to 5 different things that I can do, and there's like 2 lines of description explaining what each thing does. So when I pull the game out of the cupboard to play with my family, I can very easily hand them the card and be like, all right, here's what you can do. And when they ask me, well, what can I do this turn? I can point to the card and I can say, this is what you can do. Here you go. They'll be like, I don't want to read all that. And I can be like, okay, on your turn, you can. And I read it out and it works out great. I'm not gonna fucking remember that. 13 different types of things that I can do each fucking turn with just the opponent. Hell no. This is not the kind of game that I enjoy at all. But I'm sure there's a demographic for it. Good for them. Welcome to Catalaika. This is a game unlike most others. I agree with those who said that a good strategy game takes minutes to learn and a lifetime to master. And 13 different actions per turn. There are elements of this system that I've been working on developing for over 2 decades. I think the loss of magic and mystery we experience with some of our scientific observations may be restored, and a more healthy balance of life can be found through respecting the macro-organic life and finding new ways to interact with them. Also learning to respect the old ways in a new light. This manual is divided into 2 sections. The quick start section for those who want to just dive right in and start playing, and the Galactic Primer for those of you who enjoy learning about the deeper backstory of the universe of Catalaika. What is this game about? And it keeps fucking going. You guys get the point by now, right? It's a fucking space game, dude. All right, so the first update that they do, a brief introduction to the 4 decks. I hope this explains Catalaika in more depth. Update number 2, 13 different player culture cards. That's cool. Update number 3, shipping costs. You know, that's a valid talking point for a lot of Kickstarters. Is like, oh, I didn't realize how expensive shipping is going to be, or, well, how much is shipping going to be in general, like for your area, blah, 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 blah. You know, like discussing that shit. Update number 4, gameplay demo, has since been privated. Project is funded successfully. All right. It's in 2011, August 18th, 2011. Update number 5, yay, we get to make the game. Update number 6, production is scheduled. Update number 7, materials purchased and expansion packs in the planning stages. Wow, this is coming along nicely. August 31st, September 21st, work update. October 18th, first draft of the game manual. Nice, okay. December 7th, well, that's kind of a large jump. Just a quick update on Catalaika. Well, but at least it's an update. You know, all the cards are finished. Update number 11, all 4 decks are now online. Nice, there's like more proof of the gameplay. Nice, okay. Update number 12, the first finished production prototype? Fuck yeah. Only 2 months, well, 2 months is a long time to go without any updates on a fucking board game. But anyways, number 13, oh, fuck yeah, production printing is starting this week. Wow, this is great! I sure hope the next update isn't batshit insane! Ever since about December, I've been harassed by a voice that is claiming to be the sun, and it's been attacking me and harassing me almost every hour of the day. This is the best way I can explain what I'm going through. If anyone has any advice or can offer help with this problem, it was really not what I was hoping for, and it was very much not what I was told making this game was going to be like last year when I started working on it. Voice says the sun doesn't want you to publish Catalika because it wants to be almost exactly like Catalika, but keep it all a secret. If you publish your game, it's going to let people in on too many secrets. Paraphrasing. My response, the giant glowing mass of hydrogen that lights up our entire planet with heat and color wants to remain a secret. Seems like a bit of a pipe dream to me. Besides, there have already been a few different galactic themed video games, and at least one other board game that have all gotten rather popular, so I don't really understand why the sun is supposedly obsessing over the details in this game, specifically. The voice won't tell me what it is that I'm supposed to change or remove, because apparently that would give too much away. This is all rather strange to me and hard to believe. We already demonstrated that the sun's long-term goals and survival are threatened by people who manipulate elements, and that the sun has nothing to lose by being honest and open. But the people who want to control it and the less educated people around them have their entire fortunes to lose if life on Earth came together in a healthy way, along with the blessing of the sun. Apparently my design for the game was based on ideas that are too close to reality, and people who have a lot of influence over life itself have been stomping on me and trying to keep me from finishing it. I hope you can understand why I've been hoping that production would have gone smoother and just get the game done. But this harassment has gone so persistent I can barely even think anymore. When I started working on it, I was told that it would be my opportunity to make something that would help teach, bring various levels of life together, and would be fun and popular. But it's just been a roadblock after roadblock and endless harassment for months over any minute detail or idea that I put into it. Even though it's finished, then the voices start obsessing over keeping me from printing it, mostly by distracting me constantly with insane trivia, nonsense, and annoyances to the point where I can't even think, like Yandere Dev in his emails. What's kind of frustrating is that half of the stuff that it complains about to me are things that I was essentially instructed to put into the game by the same voices that are harassing me now. I honestly don't know what to do about this. I'm starting to feel that I've been set up by someone and I'm feeling kind of lost. The main problem is the actual printing of the card decks. I have all the other materials and I have cardstock to print the cards on, but it was a bit too thick for my printer and I can't afford to take it to a second-hand printer. So as soon as I finish it, I am determined to see this project done. I looked into exchanging or returning the cardstock, and it would cost me about $500 to do that, which I don't have since I'm on disability due to an injury. I only get about $200 a month after rent, and most of that goes into food. I put way too much time and effort into Catalika to give up now, so if anyone has ideas, I'd love to hear them. You are experiencing auditory hallucinations. Assuming you are not on drugs, the most likely causes are schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, or bipolar disorder. These are all very serious conditions that can destroy your life if left untreated, and you should see a psychiatrist immediately. I take it you don't like consumerism and capitalism, but another highly valued commodity is goodwill. Don't squander that with months of silence again. I am sure some backer from the US can help out, either with contacts or even access to printers. Keep us in the loop. Relax. Ignore the sun. Take your time. We can wait. Be yourself. Enjoy. Don't stress over the wonders of creation. Peace. Printing has begun! This is all I know up to. I have no idea how the rest of these updates go. So we're gonna get into this together. Alright, we good? Status update. The spiritual side of this has been calming down a lot in the last month or two, as we've been working through some of the more complex details behind the spiritual plasma attacks that have been trying to destroy me since 2008. Basically, the US Navy has been putting up transmitter systems all over the place to control the plasma transition so that it can try to use the information as a weapon. Apparently I recorded some things in my game that were a reference to Navy weapons without knowing that, and so I became one of their targets. I'm mostly trying to help educate them and others about these issues in my journal, which has been going alright for the most part. Apologies on the delays as always. This has been far more frustrating to me than to any of you. You may be fearing that you've lost some money. You haven't, the game is still happening, just delayed. But I've been afraid that I've lost everything in my life, including my eternal soul, when I started getting attacked. Molly, while it is good that you are doing better, and good that the game is progressing, John is right. You need to seek psychiatric help! Molly, you should look into getting professional help. What you are saying makes no sense from a rational perspective. Alright. Okay. So that was status update number 17. Okay, number 18. Just wanted to contact everyone and let you all know what's going on. Ignore the sun! Once again, thanks for your patience. As for those who have complained, I found that 99% of the people that have criticized the production of this game were not even people that purchased it. A year or two to polish a homemade indie game with as many complex parts as this one is not unheard of. Isn't it just like a board and some cards? I feel like people do that all the time. Obviously, that's not how long I was hoping it would take. I had no idea I would get harassed by plasma beings. At this point, the concern is not so much that you're not updating enough, although updates are appreciated, but that you're not getting in contact with a psychiatrist. If you are being attacked by plasma beings, they'll either be able to help confirm your beliefs or disprove them and help you get the help we all believe you need. Maybe there are plasma beings and such, but so far you're the only one encountering them, and that seems unlikely. Kay is such a negative Nancy. What are they even fucking focusing on? We should be focused on the game. When's the game coming out? Update number 19 in August. Wanted to update and let you know that I have moved 2,000 miles, found an apartment, and am currently in the process of setting my life in order again. I would be up printing copies of the game right now, but my bike trailer was stolen a couple weeks ago when I was homeless and looking for a place to live. That's sad. It was the only way I could get the heavy office printers and the stacks of papers to my new room by myself, but I should be able to find a way to get the printers and other supplies from storage in the next few weeks, so I can finally resume printing it next month as soon as my disability payment arrives and I can afford to buy some ink. Thanks for your patience. Hopefully the last update before your copy arrives. Things are going okay right now. I haven't been able to replace my bike trailer yet, but I did get contacted by one of the disabled housing apartments I signed up for almost a year ago when I was homeless. I think most of you know I was in a vehicle accident in 2003. No. What? What? It destroyed my shoulder and part of my scapula and left me unable to move one of my arms for over a year and left me permanently physically disabled. No, I had no idea about that. Casual lore drop, yeah. As far as I can tell, it seems to all be related to being born intersexual. What? Like the car accident? What? Like you got into a car accident because you're intersexual? What? And that something believed my living as a woman and being able to make money and not get married were unwelcome or threatening to some large group's religion. Chat. I only knew up to part 14, okay? And this is part 20. What the fuck? Why those opinions were being forced on me through living materials like iron, I really have no idea. What? And even worse, I have absolutely no way to prove any of it, but I do believe iron communicates backwards and that it's obsessed with gender. Like the metal? It's okay to call me crazy. I think I'm just giving you more excuses, but I promise that I'm not lying and that I will finish printing the game and send everyone what they paid for. It's what I owe you, and if I was trying to rip you all off, I wouldn't be documenting my experiences of the last 2 years online in detail. I would have disappeared and changed my name long ago. If I had no intention of finishing the game. I know these are probably meaningless words to most of you, and you think I'm never going to finish printing, but I currently have all the paper and supplies and even a stack of 80% printed decks. It would be such a waste to not finish the game when I'm so close to being done. I certainly want people to enjoy it so I can at least show that I'm honest and trying to follow through on my responsibility to Kickstarter and my backers. Sincerely, Molly. I'm not sure what the situation. I would like to say, you know, like, oh, you know, like this person very clearly needs help, and at least she is trying. But I'm torn between, this is gonna sound really bad, but like, is this somebody who actually needs help? Or is this somebody that's really fucking lazy and has a million different excuses for why they can't do this and that? Like, I don't want to be an asshole. Maybe she actually does have like schizophrenia and like really struggles with day-to-day everything. My personal experience with people is that they'll be like, oh yeah, you know, like I moved into disabled housing and I don't have enough room to keep all this stuff for this project inside my house, so I have to buy a storage unit, and because I have to use a storage unit, you know, I gotta like spend money on that, and because I'm spending money on that, that's money that I can't spend on finishing what people paid for. You know, like the time and energy of going to the storage unit to retrieve those supplies when I need to do stuff. It's so much time and it's so much like energy, and I'm disabled, so it's too much. Like it's too much for me to do, and I don't know. April, moving everything 2,000 miles. Also, the last few months of dealing with the spiritual pressures I've really been getting much better, and I feel like I was able to communicate and work through all the issues so that I'm not feeling so constantly challenged by pressures anymore, which is great. I won't get into personal stuff here, since all you guys want is a fun board game, but I still have been journaling my adventure to make sense of these imbalances and pressures that have seemed to bother so many people. If you're curious, you can learn more in my DeviantArt journal. So, that's a time skip. That was a hell of a time skip. Hey y'all! Some of you may have seen the video claiming this Kickstarter is a failure and generally painting me up to look completely insane. You never, ever looked crazy when you were talking about how the sun was trying to kill you. So I wanted to respond here and just let you know to expect a copy of Eternal War of the Candy Realms printed and sent at my loss, to apologize to everyone that didn't get a copy of Catalika. Hey, what do you mean didn't get a copy of Catalika? Didn't you say you were shipping them out? Excuse me? What? I've already sent out some copies of Candy Realms to you, and we'll be sending out more in a few weeks. If your address has changed recently, please message me and let me know. Why that game and not Catalika? Partly due to cost, but mostly because I feel it's a better game in every aspect, but it's not what people paid for! I stand by Catalika being a fun and decent game. The rumor that it has no end is bull. Every conflict either discards a card or removes a point from your card or your character card's health. The number's on the side with the skull at the bottom that's explained very clearly in the manual, so the guys who claim to be reviewing it apparently didn't actually bother to read the manual. Anyway, I've been working on game design since I was a kid. My mom's friend Richard grew up in Lake Geneva and occasionally played in a campaign run by Gary Gygax. Richard introducing me to gaming when he gave me his copy of AD&D and was enamored by tabletop gaming since. My best childhood pal, Matthew Mercer, and I would design settings and game systems almost constantly, always on search for a new refinement, an interesting culture, or a fun new gimmick to try. Before I fell in love with music or found my bio-father's Centurion ring in the basement? What? And became interested in gem collecting and jewelry, there was gaming. Only Lego, sewing, and my appreciation of Transformers figures came before gaming. What? And gaming consumed those other interests in my teens and 20s, so to have my first attempt at selling a game to be considered a failure really bothers me. I mean, it was a failure. People didn't get the fucking game. I've sold over $20,000 of Lego parts on Bricklink over the years. I've sold over 1,000 items on Etsy. I've been in gallery shows, magazines, and sold over 1,000 novelty prop items on eBay. And before this Kickstarter, I've only had one outspoken negative customer due to a personal emergency and her impatience. So what went wrong? I put some cool stuff into Catalika, but it was too ambitious for my first project, and deciding to print it myself was probably the main mistake that led to the budget problems and the partial failure. Can I be honest? I feel like Kickstarter isn't for regular people to make stuff with. And I know that kind of like goes against the idea of Kickstarter, that like anyone can make any project on Kickstarter, and if people like the idea enough, you can make it a reality. Even simple projects are a lot of work. Even simple projects take a lot of money. There's just so much that goes into even the most basic of things. People look at like conventions, right? And they're like, oh, that like, just make sure everything runs properly, bro. And it's like, whoa, there's like a lot going on there. There's a lot of moving parts there. Read the next paragraph. Oh my God. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second, all right? Let's get the pretty aside. You know, if you're making a board game, you have to either do the art yourself or get art. And if you don't have the ability to make the art, well, you're going to have to pay somebody to make it. You're going to have to find somebody to make it, and people underestimate just how difficult that is. I do admit that I wasn't able to send finished copies of the game to everyone before the budget ran out, but I never used the sun or the voice that I did isolate on the 1350 hertz frequency of carbon monoxide. This bitch had carbon monoxide poisoning as excuses for my partial failure on this Kickstarter. I want to be clear that the budget ran out due to buying the wrong paper for the cards that ended up being too thick for my 4-color laser printer, having to buy a different printer to finish the cards, having to use more expensive ink, and not understanding that shipping charges are factored into the final backer amount of the Kickstarter. Those are real-world accidents and mistakes. I really don't appreciate the video trying to take my report of some of the unusual events out of context and trying to twist it into making it appear that I went crazy and or just ran off with your backing. What video is she fucking talking about? I didn't. I still have all the receipts and all. I also documented myself using the materials I purchased to build a few stacks of finished copies of Catalika, and I have receipts of sending out as many as I could, with a bunch of them sent out at my cost after the funding had all run out. Here's my hot take. You should have just kept mailing them. You should just keep mailing them. Keep mailing them out. It's been 3 years. If you had kept mailing them out, if you had kept fulfilling your promise, you'd probably be done by now. I'm not excusing the failure to those of you who didn't get a copy. That's why I'm sending you candy realms. To those of you who haven't gotten Catalika, I just felt Catalika wasn't my best work after I started playtesting candy realms. And if I'm going to be spending my money to send you a game, I want it to be my best game yet, not the only okay one that no one seems to love. I spent over 3 years designing Candy Realms, which was twice as long as the pre-production of Catalika, and it's much more concise, has a stronger theme, tighter gameplay, better art, and a great, unique twist. So if I have to gift you to feel like I fulfilled your backing, why gift you the worst game? Because it's what they paid for? I hope that seems reasonable to you. It doesn't. What about the sun? As for the sun, it did actually harass me a bit. But it also ended up communicating clear enough that I understand why it did, and there's no hard feelings on my part. What? What? Oh man, this is gonna get clipped! As for the accusation that I am racist... Motherfucker! It's gonna get clipped! Shit! As for the accusation that I am racist, I am. I firmly believe that blacks are superior because I've burned in UV as far back as I can remember. I'd love to be able to run around outside and not burn. My mom has a sun allergy worse than I do, to the point where she takes medication for it. I didn't invent race, so please don't expect me to pretend I don't burn in UV. Maybe that light sensitivity is what led to the argument I got caught up with between the part of the sun and the carbon. I don't know. I did some research into CO and UV, and I feel that I understand enough of what was occurring that I'm not really bothered by it anymore. I won't post about that here because it's not appropriate or relevant to this Kickstarter. Anyways, I get that Dan Ibertson's channel is based on making comedy videos and not on strict journalistic integrity, so I'm not holding it against him. I actually sent him a copy of Candy Realms to check out a few weeks ago, which he told me he did an unboxing of during a live stream, and he likes the artwork but hasn't tried playing it as of this update. What was that, dude? Where did that come from? Where did that fucking come from? Nobody was talking about that. No, but I checked every update. Nobody said she was racist. What the fuck? The sun is also racist. The sun hates white people. Recap, if you haven't gotten a Catalika, you won't get one. But I have already started sending out copies of Eternal War of the Candy Realms. Please accept it as my apology and attempt to fulfill my promise to you. No. The Sun and CO voice were not the cause of Catalika's partial failure. My mistakes and resulting budget problems was I did not go crazy and or run off with backer money. Sorry so long. Hope everyone is doing well. Is it possible to find the digital materials for Catalika online somewhere? And are you requesting updated mailing addresses before shipping? Hey, is nobody gonna talk about the part where she says she's racist? Is everyone gonna skip over this part? Okay, next update. The final one was in 2023. November 2023. So, pretty fucking large gap in time. The update number 30 was in 2018. Update number 31 is in 2023. Let's see what she says. It called me Catalika today, so let's do a little imagination exercise. Let's say I did everything perfectly. I designed the game just right. Kickstarter took their $1,800 and I used the remaining $6,000 to buy supplies, and I didn't have the paper thickness problem or the printer ink issue. Let's pretend I didn't have to buy that second printer or its more expensive ink, and you didn't announce a huge postal rate increase a huge couple months before the Kickstarter ended. More fucking excuses that didn't exist. The Seymour family didn't betray me that December, and telling me they were moving to a new house in 3 weeks, leaving me essentially homeless at Christmas of 2012. Let's pretend I didn't lose hundreds of dollars shipping out the copies that did go out. Instead of only producing and sending out 54 copies of the game, some even with free copies of Eternal War of the Candy Realms, I was able to make all 85 copies of Catalika, and everyone who got it loved it. How would that ideal Catalika be different and improved over the actual game design as it was published and sent out to my backers? Well, the game would exist, so that's a start. Let's explore in detail how it would have grown in popularity. No, that's not what we're discussing. That's not what we're discussing. Actually, what we're discussing is the fact that people didn't get their game. Not that the game didn't get more popular, but that people who paid money for this didn't get their copies. Who is going to be the biggest supporter of it? I don't know, maybe the Sun would have been happy. Who would have recommended it in a review? I don't know, probably no one, because the game seems like dog shit. What kind of marketing and merch was supposed to happen? I think you're living in a fantasy world. Most games do not have merch. 99.9% of games do not have merchandise, especially not board games. What kind of game conventions was I supposed to go to spread the game? You didn't have to do that. How was it going to go from that initial 80 Kickstarter backers to the next 100 copies sold and the first 1,000 copies? It didn't need to do that. People who paid for it just needed to get their game. It's totally fine for even the best game in the world to have only ever sold 80 copies. It's perfectly fine. Is it... Would it be a shame if it didn't sell 1,000 copies? Yeah, that'd be a shame. But it's fine. It's fine. The people who bought it got it. And it's fine. It doesn't need to sell 1,000 copies. What are you going on? Yeah, if it's limited run, that's okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's not indicative of a bad game. It's not indicative of a bad product that it only sells 80 copies. Please explain exactly what that successful Catalika narrative was supposed to be. The people who paid for their game got their game. That's it. What unique features the Catalika was supposed to be considered its strongest point? The 13-path gameplay mechanic, the living sun resource mechanic, the systematic engine building mechanic, the relationships built between different levels. I don't know, whatever people liked. What was supposed to be everyone's favorite features of the game? Don't know. That ever got the game. How much profit was I supposed to make on each copy? Well, if you had planned well, maybe you would have made some sort of profit, but you fucked up. So now you have to eat the losses. This is not complicated. In an ideal world, you would make $100 per copy, but like, what do you mean? What do you fucking mean? You're moping. How is it supposed to be picked up by a publisher and mass-produced for the wider public? It doesn't need to be. If you've ever been to a game store, which it sounds like this person does. It sounds like this person loves board games and goes to game conventions and goes to game stores. And if you've ever been to a game store, usually there's a little section for local games that haven't been picked up by massive publishers. There's usually like smaller publishers localized to certain regions. Not every game needs to be Wingspan. There's actually a lot of just tiny little locally made games out there. It's not a big deal. Were they going to buy the individual rights to that one game in a large sum? Probably not, no. Or were they going to immediately recognize my skill at single-handedly designing such a huge and awesome game and offer to hire me as a designer and artist full-time? No. No, they weren't going to do that. How many hundreds of thousands or millions of copies of the game were supposed to sell to the wider public? None. How much money was I supposed to make in profit from that one game getting popular? $3 million? $10 million? None. Ego much? Yeah, she has a ego on her. Her defense of not sending out people's copies of the game is that it wasn't gonna do enough for her. After all, you told me to make the game. Surely you had its success in mind. No, they just had the game in mind. They just wanted the game. It's a valid reason? No, it's not. It's not. This is not a valid reason. A valid reason to not send out copies of the game would be you fucking died. Sorry, I fucking died. I can't send out copies of the game. People paid for the game. They want the fucking game. Send out the fucking game. Thank you. Are you actually a sleeper agent of the sun? Possibly. You certainly didn't tell me to make the game simply because you only had its failure planned, along with a huge set of gotchas and setups and traps for me, right? Bro, what? They just wanted the game. Oh my fucking god, dude. Don't make me say this again. Don't make me say this shit, bro. Bro. The clips, bro. Oh, fuck, man. The truth is, you accused me of racism because I had worked through the false allegations against me that I was unsafe for children by 2011. What? You know what? I'm gonna start saying this to my detractors. I'm gonna start saying this to my detractors. You're only calling me racist because I beat the Lolicon allegations. You still wanted me to fail because you couldn't handle that I had What? But you still wanted me to fail because you couldn't handle that I had exposed the evil black racists who falsely accused me. I thought she liked black people. I thought she liked black people too. What happened to blacks being superior? I was that annoying white person who figured out that evil black racist people were dominating UV's chlorophyll narrative. What? 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 You guys think put me in the screenshot? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? What? What? Okay, I had documented in detail that I wanted to be a natural fair huntress of the garden, that I identified as an intersex angel without functioning sex organs as the opposite of plants having both, and that I supported parthenogenetic cloning of my tribe's children instead of children being sexualized to break their holy seals laying with beasts called husbands. What? Chat, is this feminism? I single-handedly introduced this planet to the idea of pink or green being the rightful division of life and death. That plants are an essential function of inward-moving death pressure as part of our planet's relationships with each other. That the pink throne is supposed to be the position of free will earned by hunting and eating their darkers who have been rightfully death-pressured into a food source. Chet, is this racist? I don't know what I'm saying. There could be only one disease of full plant reclamation, and that the ring revolt is building enormous ceramic icosahedrons like this planet to turn suns into fuel sources. And it got millions of views on the internet. I was the lady who made everyone racist. That's what they say about me, too. I exposed that black culture was using its influence over UV to attack anything on the planet that got too close to being a fair huntress, which was the ultimate goal of animal evolution in stellar culture. There was no chance that Catalika was going to be successful. I don't know, bro. And since we know no white or Asian people have ever turned into black people naturally. Okay, give me a moment. And since we know no white or Asian people have ever turned into black people naturally, and this planet only has one race of females on its pink opposite of plant throne, you were essentially accusing me of being a normal woman on the pink throne. You set me up to fail because you didn't want to deal with the success I already had. Goodbye, Miss Molly. Wow, this is a lot. Still waiting on the game, though! Mr. Space Bar, thank you, perfect face hire. Holy shit. There is only one race of women. Pink women.
Everybody, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Low Effort Clips. That's right, Low Effort Clips, right here on YouTube.com. Yeah, and hit the notification bell. Yeah.